It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to tune into your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, right here on SABC 3. It's time to take a quick look at some of the biggest tech stories around. Now, how we shop is constantly evolving, and companies are always looking for ways to innovate and improve the retail experience. Now, this week, news broke that Walmart in the US unveiled their first AI-powered store, and we're joined by tech journalist Bryan Smith to unpack what this exactly means. Bryan, good to have you, my friend.
Thanks,
Welcome.
great to be back.
Welcome back to the round table, buddy. You laughed there when you said it, and I have a feeling you're thinking about this being applied to a South African context, but it's not the first time we've seen a smart store or AI effectively being used in that kind of space.
Definitely so. South Africans might be more familiar with the idea of the self-checkout, which has been debuted at a number of stores now in South Africa, but perhaps is more common abroad. And then, of course, we have the idea of Amazon Go, which is Amazon's sort of niche store, which is opened in the United States, which essentially does without the need for human staff at all, where camera sensors will track your movements and what you happen to pick up and put in your basket in store. And you can simply walk out without having to swipe a card or make a definitive purchase, and what you've purchased will essentially be debited off your credit account at a later stage.
Yeah, so you're basically being watched all the time when you go into one of these
They're
stores.
just saying, come and steal your goods for the day. We'll get you later.
We'll get you later. But what makes Walmart's latest AI-powered store different? I mean, what sets it apart now, from the rest that we've heard and seen?
That's a great question. So arguably what we've sort of seen up until now is the idea of the store that's been led by artificial intelligence. And Walmart's idea here is rather to use artificial intelligence to augment its offerings. What I mean by that is that in Walmart stores now called the Intelligent Retail Lab, essentially human staff are still employed. They'll retain all their essential functions, but artificial intelligence will enhance their daily duties. For example, cameras and sensors will monitor stock levels on shelves and will be able to monitor and advise an employee what they need to restock when it's actually running low. For example, that really comes into play if you consider something that expires or is perishable, such as milk or maybe a cut of meat that needs to be replaced.
So it's going to bring down waste, and this sounds like a campaign promise, like the robots will not steal your jobs, because Walmart is massive, and if you start replacing jobs in an infrastructure that big, but we like the idea of AI being used to enhance work in that space. So what does this mean moving forward? Are we still headed in the direction of pure automation, or are we going to see AI being used more in this way to enhance people's jobs? What will a store look like in 10 years from now? Will we even go to a store in 10 years, maybe is the question. Yeah?
That's precisely the question. So if you consider one of the major debates at the moment is exactly that, is will automation replace jobs? And one of the very interesting things to consider is, for example, Amazon stores, which are entirely led by artificial intelligence.
They're in the cloud.
Are exceptionally small. I mean, these are really niche stores designed for convenience pickups, whereas Walmart stores are typically large and stock up to 30,000 items at a time. So what we might see is far more artificial intelligence, monitoring technology such as cameras and sensors being integrated into storefronts, where it'll make sort of everyone's lives a little bit easier, whether you are the employee in that store or whether you're just the shopper in question.
So you want the aisle. You want to walk down the aisle and take things that you didn't think you were going to buy.
Why do we need this?
I think
why are we going for this? I mean, if we take a look at things like, taking jobs.
Such a farmer, man. You're like
I just want to know, why would
farmer.
we need shops like these?
So the real sort of premise at the end of the day is sort of streamlining and optimizing, right?
Yeah.
If you consider that we definitely need jobs, I mean, human beings need to be employed for a number of different reasons. That's its own conversation. But if we consider the fact that the amount of waste we produce in supermarket chains or convenience stores just by that inefficiency, for example, of restocking items, introducing this kind of technology can refine that greatly.
Okay.
So NGOs are the ones who are going to suffer. Those that are getting almost perished food are going to be the ones who really suffer. No, it's very exciting, dude, and just paints a picture of how far we've come and how far we are going. Are you fearing a robot stealing your job? Let us know on social media. Let us know on all of our media platforms. If there are any tech stories, cool stories that have caught your attention, we'll get Bryan to investigate.